What's up, ladies and gentlemen? This is Nina from VR Focus, and you might have heard of virtual reality if you have been watching Steven Spielberg's Ready Player One, or you might have heard of virtual reality if your friend owns a PlayStation VR. The top three virtual reality headsets are the Oculus Rift, the HTC Vive, and the PlayStation VR, and today's video is going to be about the HTC Vive, its history, and the celebrations for its second year anniversary. The HTC Vive headset was developed by HTC and Valve Corporation. HTC is a Taiwanese consumer electronic company, whilst Valve is an American game developers company, and they also have their own distribution platform, better known as Steam, or for virtual reality, it's Steam VR. They've made games like Portal, Team Fortress, Counter-Strike, just to name a few. So that partnership, or them working together to create a VR headset, is extremely vital because VR Focus believes that a lot of the development and a lot of the pushing of technology is actually being done in video games. And so therefore the partnership with HTC and the partnership with Valve is really perfect because it means that HTC is using Valve's platform with Steam to essentially access all of the PC gamers out there who potentially want to dip their toes into virtual reality. So a little bit of the history of HTC. HTC is primarily, or was primarily, known for smartphones. So they were working on smartphones, and a lot of basically competition started coming from Samsung and from Google. And as the years have progressed, they have started to become more interested in virtual reality. I'm going to talk about that a little bit later, so let's first talk about the headset. Back in 2015, on the 1st of March, the HTC Vive was announced. Now this is when HTC Vive was working primarily with smartphones, and they were kind of dipping their toes into virtual reality for the first time. The HTC Vive has the unique advantage of room scale tracking, allowing users to move freely around a volume of up to 15 by 15. This is a favorite for virtual reality developers due to its room scale tracking technology. It allows a user to move in a 3D space and use motion tracked handheld controllers to interact with the environment. So while it's been suggested that both the Oculus Rift and the PlayStation VR are capable of delivering similar experiences, neither the hardware manufacturer has showcased this technology or openly discussed it. The HTC Vive has a resolution of 2160 by 1200 across two screens and 1080 by 1200 per eye. It's got a refresh rate of 19 Hz, and its tracking is external lighthouses using gyroscopes and accelerometers. So let's go to 2016. It was actually Oculus Rift that launched their headset first on the 28th of March 2016, and it was HTC Vive that launched their headset afterwards on the 5th of April 2016. So now let's talk about content and creation, because it's all about creating new technology and pushing the boundaries, and that's exactly what HTC Vive is trying to do. On April 26, 2016, HTC Vive launched the Vive X Accelerator program. In the last 2 years, the Vive X program has invested in 80 different things, and lots of startup companies have gone through the Vive X Accelerator program. Now what the accelerator actually does, it helps them out with things like legal advice, like accounting, like admin, all of that type of stuff. The Vive X Accelerator program is used to help VR startup developers to just focus on developing virtual reality rather than thinking about all of the other stuff. So the Vive X program is used by HTC Vive to really help cultivate virtual reality developers to create new immersive technologies. So previously, I was talking about basically HTC Vive and Valve working together to create the HTC Vive headset. And obviously, Steam is the very clear answer for developers out there who want to reach out to their audiences. But Vive know that on Steam there are so many different experiences and games out there, and it's really difficult for developers to get in touch with the consumers. So what is the best way forward? They introduced Viveport. Essentially, Viveport is a platform where content creators, developers, and consumers can go to find out about new virtual reality experiences. It's basically curated by Vive. So you've got various different sectors that you might be interested in, like design, fashion, art, history, all of these different things, and you can discover more things by going onto the platform. Consumers can access the Viveport platform through a subscription model. So when it launched, it was basically $6.99 to access Viveport, and you'd be able to access exclusive virtual reality experiences on the platform. it's not only about content as well, but it's also about accessories, right? Out-of-home entertainment locations and other things. Like, what if you wanted to add more things to your experience? So on March 27th, 2017, Vive introduced the HTC Vive Tracker Pucker. So basically you can put the tracker on other objects such as, I don't know, potentially like guns or tennis rackets, other accessories that you wanted to use that weren't necessarily made for your hands. Besides the Vive Tracker, there was also the Audio Deluxe head strap. Now this was basically an attachment that you can add to the standard HTC Vive headset. It'd be a lot more comfortable to put on, and the headphones were a lot more easier to basically put on and off during experiences. So this is another example of an accessory that HTC Vive released. Now on the 21st of September 2017, Google announced it would require roughly half of the 4,000 employees working for HTC design and research staff. And not only that, they also got the non-exclusive licenses to smartphone intellectual property. So this was worth $1.1 billion. $1.1 billion, that's amazing. So HTC Vive basically said, we're gonna take that revenue and we're gonna put it into emerging technologies. In other words, I think they were talking about virtual reality. So now we're rolling to 2018. In January, Vive announced that they were releasing the Vive Focus for the Chinese market. Now this is a standalone headset, meaning that you need no external smartphone or PC to run virtual reality. The Vive Focus is powered by a Qualcomm Snapdragon 835 processor. The headset features inside-out tracking with 6 degrees of freedom from 2 front-mounted cameras, enabling users to freely move around a virtual world whilst not bumping into anything in the real world. So we can see that there's a lot of stuff happening from the very beginning of HTC Vive. First they were doing lots of smartphone technology, then they moved into dipping their toes into virtual reality. They liked it, and then they pushed that forward. They've got basically the Vive X Accelerator program working together with developers to push the technology forward. They've got Vive Port, which essentially is a way for both consumers and developers to, connect with each other, find content and discover and create different things. And then you've got the Vive Focus for the Chinese market. And then this year, 2018, at CES, they showcased the Vive Pro. So this is their new headset, which is a lot better in screen resolution, and for anybody that loves virtual reality, it doesn't have the screen door effect. So that's a massive improvement. Now let's talk about that. The most immediate discussion concerning the Vive Pro is the improved resolution. Housing 2 dual OLED displays for a combined resolution of 2880 by 1600, the Vive Pro presents a 78% increase over the HTC Vive. And that increase is noticeable. The screen door effect, where the lines between the pixels are visible, is all but removed, and the latency of the display, though no official statistics have yet been revealed, doesn't seem to have suffered one bit. If it's a visual quality upgrade you're looking for, Vive Pro certainly delivers an answer. More impressively, however, is the audio quality. The new built-in headphones are comfortable and include cup-mounted volume controls. When tested with a demonstration version of Ready Player One sensor environment, the dual microphone system was really put to the test. One of the potential biggest changes from the HTC Vive to the Vive Pro has not yet been discussed is the 2 front-facing cameras mounted upon the device. While the HTC Vive included a single camera, its functionality was decidedly limited. Now, the Vive Pro would presumably be capable of stereo tracking, and thus opening up many options for inside-out tracking and potentially augmented reality, in addition to virtual reality. Exactly what Vive has been planning for this, though, has not yet been revealed. You can pre-order your Vive Pro now for $799 or £799. So in addition to the Vive Focus and to the Vive Pro, HTC Vive have also introduced Viveport VR. This is essentially a way for consumers to taste virtual reality before they buy a product. So if developers want to, they can give them a taster by saying, hey, check out the environment and see what it's like. Or if you want to try out the gameplay, we'll give you a little bit of a taster so the consumer can test and try stuff out before they actually buy something in virtual reality. Because obviously, looking at a 2D screen and looking at a video isn't exactly the same as having a taster in virtual reality, which is what Viveport VR actually does. Whew, that was a lot of stuff to cover. Today is Vive Day, and obviously they've got special discounts and they've got special offers, so we're going to go through them right now. The first most important thing is obviously because the Vive Pro is out that the standard HTC Vive price is going to be reduced. So going from $599 and pounds is going to $499 or pounds. Now, if you want to get the Vive Pro, Vive have announced a starter kit bundle. So the Vive Pro starter kit bundle will contain the HTC Vive Pro head-mounted display, along with 2 Vive 1.0 controllers and 2 1.0 base stations for a price of $1,000.99 or £1,000 and 48 pence. This offer goes live on the Vive website from the 5th of April 2018. Consumers who purchase the HTC Vive Pro before the 3rd of June will all get a free 6-month trial to Viveport subscription service. And on top of that, if you decide to buy a Vive Pro before the 3rd of June, you will get 6 months free Viveport as a trial with the Vive Pro as well. So Viveport has obviously been growing with all the developers and all the people trying to get onto the platform. There are now over 375 different experiences that you're able to experience on Viveport. It also helped to support developer earning an additional 22% from their title in the subscription catalog. Now, if you haven't tried Viveport, you'd be thinking, maybe I want to get Viveport. You can get the 3-month Viveport at 50% discount. So you will be able to access all of those experiences that are on Viveport for basically a reduced price. So that's good news, but if you are a new user to Viveport, Vive have increased their Viveport subscription if you are a new user. So instead of paying $6.99, you now have to pay $8.99. If you already own a Vive Pro, you can get a special credit voucher for $100 or £75, along with an extension of the Viveport subscription offer for up to a year. On Vive Day, Viveport will also be offering 4 pieces of content from Vive Studios to every HTC Vive owner for free. They are Front Defense Heroes, Super Puzzle Galaxy Light, and Arcade Sega. If you already have a Viveport subscription, there's an additional freebie for you in the same time for all of these other offers. Basically, you will get a free copy of Everest VR by Sulfur Studios. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you learned a lot about Vive, all of their headsets and what they're doing. If you really like this video, please subscribe to the VR Focus channel. And if you have any questions, just hit us up at VR Focus on Twitter or on Facebook. And I look forward to seeing you in the next video.